Okay, folks, listen, this video is not about Back to the Future. The only reason I'm showing you this right here is because in the movie Back to the Future, in order for them to travel through time back and forth, they would have to go 88 miles per hour in their car. So the reason I'm showing you this is because of the 88, the 88 number. And you see these hourglasses, and the reason I'm showing you two of them because it represents the 88 number. Okay? Because the number 8 represents infinity. Because it just keeps going and going, back and forth. It's like the tail, the serpent eating its tail. You know what I mean? So when you see this, like I said, you're seeing the 88 number, inside the hourglasses. But what I want you to do right now is use your imagination, okay? So instead of telling time by the hour, which what an hourglass does, let's say it were to tell you the time per year. Like, let's say all the grains of sand took 1 year to come down, then you would turn it upside down and go back another year. Okay, it's like going back in time if you turn it upside down. And so that would be 365 days forward, 365 days backwards. Okay, because there's no way they can go back in time. But if they do it by ritual, which obviously they'd have to, I don't think they can go back in time. But anyway, so I have two here. So do you get what I'm saying? 365 days, 1 year, and then going back 365 days makes 730. 365 forward, 365 backwards makes 730. And the reason that 730 is so important is because the number 7 and 3 looks like the letters EL, which means God in Hebrew. And also the O is a crown, like I told you guys. So 730 is ELO, L with a crown, God with a crown. And this is what confirms it, because the word perfect, which also equals the same exactly as kingdom, and also exactly the same as the words O, Father, the letter O and Father. Anyway, it equals 7337, which is the EL, because it's the Father, the Son. Do you see? God. And it's the one and one God. All right? That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And with a crown. I told you it's perfect. And look at that. This is the forward number. There's the backward number. It equals 116 going backwards. And that's my June 11th date, 6/11, for the catastrophic event in Seattle. Anyway, like I said, if you go 1 year forward, then 1 year back, that's 730. 1 year forward, 1 year back, that's total would be 1460. And that would be Trump's birthday, June 14th, 14/6. 14/6, Trump's birthday with a crown, you see? Now watch what happens when you put 365, which is 1 year, 365, which is the second year, or going backwards, whatever. And then the total was 730. 365 plus 365 equals 730. If you put in the gematria calculator, look what you get. 777. Jackpot. You see, I told you, that's why you know it's perfect. You go forward 365, backwards 365. It equals 730. And I just showed you that 700 and that the 730 is the ELO. EL means God. And I just put this into the calculator and it equals 777. I just showed it to you. Which I explained equals the word perfect, 7337. That's what's so important. It's the Father, the Son, the one and one God with the crown. And that's why the Twin Towers had 110 floors each. Okay? Each tower had 110. because, like I said, it's the word perfect. And the Father, Son, that's what that was. And that's why it's 110 floors, because it means perfect. And they brought down the towers. And also it was a ritual for Trump and Elvis. I told you, the twin devils. But they were bringing down the Father and Son on on 9/11. And if that's still not enough proof for you, there's this thing called the Tribute in Light. It has to do with the Twin Towers. They had 88 searchlights uh, beaming into the sky. You see how the searchlights are beaming into the sky? This is what it looks like when they would do it on 9/11 to make it look like the towers. And each tower symbol had 44 searchlights, 44 on one tower and 44 on the other, to represent the towers that used to, stand there. And that's a total of 88, 44 and 44. And, I always tell you that Trump's going to get his head wound on 8/4. 8/4. You know what I mean? And then 4 days later, he's going to rise like Lazarus when Jesus rose him from the dead, and it'll be 8/8, the date. You see? Trump's going to rise. I told you. He gets his head wound on 8/4 and then rises on 8/8. And the name Trump in Gematria equals 88. You see right here? It adds up to 88. Look at it. At the bottom. And these astrologers, I don't, care about stuff like that, but they say that the Lions Gate portal opens up every year on August 8th, the 8/8. You see? You can go look at that yourself. I'm not going to get into that. Like I said, these hourglasses represent, the 88 number and also pillars. You see what I'm saying? And you know what this reminds me of right here when I look at this? It reminds me of a baseball's batter's box. The batters stand on either this side or that side, depending on if they're left-handed or right-handed. And who stands, who sits right here at home plate? The catcher. The catcher sits at home plate. And if you saw my video that I did, either the one before this one or the other one, where I was talking about the catcher, the pitcher and catcher, the catcher sits at home plate. Look what it equals, 58, 31, 89. And the word father equals 58, 31, 89. Only this first row matches. Forget about the back row. What I'm trying to tell you is that father equals catcher in the first row right here. Only the first row, which is the most important, because this is the forward numbers and this is the backwards numbers. So catcher equals father in the first part right there. And the catcher sits at home plate. You see that? And I told you these are the pillars. Imagine the 88s are in those. So this is what you would be seeing. See? It looks like the batter's box and home plate, and the catcher, which equals father, is at home. I wonder what home equals. So the word home equals 4123, and backwards it equals 6713. I wonder if it has any significance. It equals the exact same as the words, "Oh God." O is a crown. So God with a crown equals the exact same as home. Do you understand what I just showed you? that home equals "Oh God," and catcher is where home plate sits is where the catcher sits, and catcher equals father. You know, it's just unbelievable. So if Trump and Elvis represent the towers, and I showed you how the 8 fits into the hourglasses. You get what I'm saying? That look like towers. If they think they're God, EL means God, so it's EL8, EL8, right? And I told you that the EL8 looks like the number 738. 73 is the EL, you understand? In the Bible, it says on the seventh day, God rested, right? And, somebody had wrote a book. I think he was actually a Christian too. And it says on the eighth day, God looked down and then, I'm just showing you what he's saying. I need a caretaker, so God made a farmer. It's interesting because the word George means farmer. And guess what George equals in gematria? Exactly the word eighth. George equals eighth, and it means farmer. And on the eighth day, God created Elvis. Why am I writing that? Because Elvis was born on the eighth day of the year. And I was just showing you this, right? Imagine if this number is 738, because I told you it looks like EL8, right? 738. So if you were to take Elvis Presley's birthday, January 8th, 1935, the day he was born, and go backwards 738 days, it lands on the first day of the month. So Elvis is born on the 738th day. Do you understand? He's born on the 738th day if you started from 0. Sorry. It doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter. You could just start from 0. So it would be the first of the year all the way forward 738 days. It lands on Elvis's birthday. He's the EL8. Now here is where I blow your mind. Okay, now pay attention. Don't look at this yet because it's not going to make any sense. Now, if you went from the year 1, actually, I want to put 0, but it won't let me put 0. So I have to start from the year 1. So if you start from the first of the month and the year 1, but see, I want to put 0. So that means I have to add a year. See, I want to put August 4th, 2022, which is next year. That's when Trump gets his head wound. So what I'm showing you, what equation I'm showing you is for next year, 2022. But because I had to add a year here, instead of putting 0, I had to add a year here. All right, so what the equation I'm about to show you is perfectly aligned for 2022, not 2023. Now watch what it equals. But before I show you what it equals, remember that I was telling you that the EL8 is the 738. And Elvis and Trump are the twins. You understand? The devil twins. 738. Look what it equals. 738. The EL8. Are you looking at what I'm showing you? On August 4th, 2022, don't pay attention to this. This is 2020. See, it's 2022 years. I couldn't put 2022 because it wouldn't let me put 0. So this is actually the equation of 0 and 2022. Look at this, will you? I've shown this before, but now with all the information that I'm showing you, look how much sense it makes now. Are you getting what I'm showing you? And 7.4, that equals 74 equals Jesus. You know that. So here's another equation. Remember, the other equation was for Donald Trump's head wound on August 4th. Check this out. from Obama's birthday, the day he's born, August 4th, 1961, to the day I'm telling you that the Elvis event happens, the Seattle Elvis event, the catastrophic event in Seattle. Look at this. It's 22,227 days. Look at this. And it's 60 years, 10 months, 8 days. It's 618 number. Elvis died on 8/16. So basically it's the backwards 8/16, but look at this. You see? 730 months and 8 days. There's your 738 again. Like I said, if you think these are coincidences, you're nuts. All right? 2022 is the year, folks. Look at these numbers. I told you, it's all about the 738 number. And remember, Elvis was born on the 738th day of the year. Yes, I said 738th day of the year. Yeah, I know what I'm saying. And like I said, everything has to do with the word perfect. I could show you a lot of connections to the word perfect that are important. Like I just told you, it equals the same as the word kingdom. It equals the same as O, Father, the letter O in Father, which is a crown on top of the Father. Everything's about the 7337. And remember, my calculator that I created not only gives you a first count for the word perfect, it gives you a second count for the word perfect. There's some interesting numbers right there. And then it gives you a third count. And remember, the third time is the charm. And look what it ends with. You see? 738. You see what I'm talking about? How important that is? That's the ending number for the word perfect, 738. And by the way, if I repeated myself with this, it's because I messed up something on my phone. So I'm not sure if I said this information already, but if I did, I apologize. And remember, I told you the EL can be either a 37 or a 73. It could be a 37 also, which, like I said, connects to the word perfect, 7337, EL. And do you see this thing right here that looks like a snake going up this structure? Do you know that this is called the Gatlinburg Space Needle? There's only 2 space needles in the world that are called Space Needle. It's the one in Seattle, the Seattle Space Needle, and then this one. And this one is the Gatlinburg Space Needle. And do you know where this one is? This one is in Tennessee, where Elvis died. Okay? Look what the zip code for the Gatlinburg Space Needle is. 37738. Do you see that? It's got the perfect number of 7337 and the 8. Or you can just say EL 738. You understand? 37 is EL and then the 738. And I told you Elvis was born on the 738th day. Do you see what I'm showing you? These are impossible coincidences. And you remember my chart of the months? Because January is the first month all the way to December is the 12th month. But instead of starting from going back to 1, I go to the 13. So January is the 13th month. February is the 14th month, and so on, right? So now take a look at June. So here's June again. Just keep looking at June. And remember, I told you June had the 666 month in it. And that's why Elvis is coming back in June. Now look at here. The 738th month is in June. You see that? Look at that. 738th month is in June. And remember, I told you the word perfect equals 7337. And Elvis's month has a 73 month and the 37th month. You see? I'm not going to go into every detail of what I discovered. I've already shown you a bunch about this before. But, and remember, Obama is born in the 8th month. And look at this. 7-3 is for January, like I said, and go all the way across, and it lands on August. And if you add those two, 7-3 and 8, 7380. Do you see? 738 with the crown 0. 7380. And look at this. You know Elvis, where he lived, Graceland? In his zip code, you have the 116, the 611 backwards. Look at that. In his zip code for Graceland. And also, one of his entrances to Graceland, there's two of them. One is 3764 and this one is 3717. It's got the EL number and 17. EL 17. And I told you Trump's going to get his head wound in Ohio, which is the 17th state. Look at this. 3717. And it just so happens the letters EL, which means God, it's backwards. His address was 3717. You see that? EL equals 1737. And the word up is the backwards of the word EL. Up equals EL backwards. And that's exactly Elvis's address, 3717. It means up. And the only president Elvis ever met with was Richard Nixon. And it just so happens he was the 37th president. There's your 37, the EL again. And Elvis, when Richard Nixon was elected in 1968, he was 33 years old, Elvis. And then when he took office in 1972, he was still in office. That's when Elvis turned 37. So he was the 37th president. Elvis visited him, and Elvis turned 37 also during his presidency. And look, he's born one day after Elvis. Elvis was born January 8th. And you know the name Milhouse, the way it's spelled? You would think, where's the E right here? You would think it would have an E, right? Milhouse. You know why it's spelled like that? So this is the word Milhouse, the name. And this is what it equals. Look at that. 9734, 9238. It equals exactly the same as serpent. 9734, 9238. You see? That's why Elvis visited him, because Elvis is the serpent. And it just so happens Richard Nixon's middle name is Serpent. I mean, can you believe this? Anyway, like I said, it's super important. The 730, which equals the ELO. And, you know, it's 1 year forward, 1 year backward. You get what I'm saying? Or 2 years, whichever way you want to see it. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because on August 4th, 2020 was the biggest explosion we've ever seen, which happened in Beirut, Lebanon. And that's where I was born. And look, it's got the numbers 8-4, which is the day I'm telling you Trump gets his head wound. And next year's year 22. 22. 8-4-22. This happened in 2020, right? And by the way, look, it's got even the 8 number again. Because I told you on August 8th, after Trump gets his head wound on the 4th, he comes back 4 days later like Lazarus. You know what I mean? But anyway, 8-4-22, right? And this happened in 2020. That means 2 years later. And 2 years later, from August 4th to 2 years later on August 4th, would be 730 days. The 730 again. The ELO number. You see what I'm saying? All I'm saying is everything aligns perfectly. Like I said, this happened in 2020 on August 4th. So 730 days later, it would be August 4th, 2022. The day Trump gets his head wound. And August 4th is Obama's birthday when Trump gets that head wound. But this right here, what I showed you earlier, is the most important discovery. Because remember, I was telling you about the EL8 738, and I told you Elvis was born on the 738th day. Remember, this is year 0 and this is year 2022. I had to add 1 year because it wouldn't let me put 0, and I had to add 1 year here to make it even. So it's the equation is for the year 0 and the year 2022. It's 738, 738. Even Steven. Do you get what I'm saying? It's the L8, L8, the 88. The day Trump gets his head wound, August 4th, 2022. 2022 years, you see? And if you think I'm crazy, watch this. So the word perfect, like I said, I've shown this before. The word perfect, the forward number is 73, the backward is 116 on the top. Look at these numbers, 73116. So now look at this equation. Again, from year 0 to 9/11/2001. Remember, I can't put that because it won't let me start from 0. So the equation is for the year 0 and the year 2001. On September 11, 2001, look how many days. 73116. Okay, if you were to turn this upside down, these numbers, 73116, it would be the word perfect. Not upside down, exactly. It's 73116. But if you were to turn it upside down, it would be 911EL. I mean, can you believe this, man? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because it was 73116. You see? Like I said, if you think these are coincidences, you're nuts. And it equaled the word perfect, 73116. And, upside down, it was 911EL. And it happened on 9/11. See, the equation is for 2001 years. You understand? That's what that is. This isn't 2002. It's 2001, and this is the year 0, the equation. It's just that I couldn't put it in, and that's why I had to add that year, because it made me put 1. Anyway, so do you understand? These are not coincidences, man. And I told you that the next 9/11 is going to be on 6/11. It's telling you right there. Because it's the 9/11 upside down. And it happened on 9/11. And the next 9/11 is the upside down 9/11, which is 6/11. If I made any sense, I don't even know what I'm saying now. Anyway, folks. Oh, before I end the video, make sure you get my predictions accurately. I mean, if you're going to tell anybody. It's Trump gets his head wound on August 4th, most likely in Ohio. On Obama's birthday, Trump gets his head wound. And the other prediction is on 6/11, somehow Elvis, his name, his number, his image manifests in Seattle after a catastrophic event on June 11th. Anyway, folks, end of video.